Hello, ladies and gentlemen of SeemsGoodMagic.com. This is Travis Simulant Sowers, and we are jumping into something a little bit different. This is a flashback triple time spiral draft. I did not play this when it was out. I played from Revised until around Prophecy, and then took a long break and came back to Magic. I think it was when Mirrored and Besieged came out. But I did one of these on the stream yesterday, and it was actually a lot of fun. So I think we're going to try another one of these this week. We've been doing a lot of Shadow stuff. Don't worry, there's plenty more Shadow stuff. If you're dying to see Travis Shadows, there's, God, at this point, probably over 120 hours of recordings on the Twitch channel. If you want to go back and watch those or come watch it live, that's mostly what I'm doing there. As for value cards, as we jump in here, really the only thing that's like worth its weight in gold is an Ancestral Vision if you open it. There's also like Living In, Vesuva, Academy Ruins that are worth a few tickets, and it drops off sharply after that. One of the other neat things that they did in this set was include time-shifted cards. So these were cards from like older sets that you can open in these packs, which I think is really cool. So I'm very excited to do this draft and share this with you guys. I'm by no means a time spiral expert, but I don't think you have to be to jump into some of these cool flashback formats and have some fun. So buckle up, we'll go for a ride and see where we end up. Looks like we're about to fire here. It took a minute for this one to fill. I will mention, as this is an older set, generally speaking, spells are going to be more powerful than creatures. Although an exception, as I found out yesterday, is some of the suspend creatures that we have here. So we're going to have to go through these relatively quickly, and should be fun because I don't know all of the cards. So we'll get to kind of see what's going on there. Jumping out to me immediately is Assassinate. This is kind of the same as the card we have in the current format. We've got Limdrol, the Necromancer. I remember this guy. You can basically pay mana to turn their stuff into zombies. If you can ramp him out, he's good. This is a burn spell in blue, which is interesting. It's a pretty good card, and blue is good in this format. We've also got Rift Bolt, kind of your classic Lightning Bolt variant. Mystical Teachings can go a long way. There's a lot of stuff that has flash. We had basically a Mystical Teachings deck yesterday that was just searching up flash creatures, which was pretty cool. That is garbage. Emerald Seekers. There is a Rebel deck, which you can do, and Mog War Marshal is fine. I think for a first pick, because I kind of hedge towards blue anyway, and this card is just kind of busted in something that blue doesn't normally get to do, I'm going to take the time-shifted card here with the Psionic Blast. It's a great start. 3 mana, 4 damage. Who cares if you're taking 2? Rift Bolt's probably the other consideration, and I'm not convinced we could ramp to Limb Duel, which would be cool if we could. What have we got here? This guy's sort of okay if you want to do something aggressive, which I mean could go with this. You'd have to get a lot of them. What does this guy do? Whenever a creature dealt damage by this dies, return it to the battlefield under your control, and it's a morph. So it's a pretty heavy commitment to black. But if you can block with something and then kill it, you get it back. That's pretty cool. What do you do? Flanking. When it attacks, tap something. When it becomes blocked, untap it and remove it from combat. It's kind of bad. I mean, kind of good, kind of bad. It's the Flash Defender guy. We've got an Empty the Warrens. This guy doesn't look great, but I bet he's got some shenanigans here. We've got a Green Seeker. Discard a card, get a basic land. I actually think I like this Transmuter. It can just straight up kill a 0/5, and also being a 4 mana 3/1 flyer and flash. Back in the day, this was a real card. So I'm going to have to assume that it's still pretty darn good. Trick Bind, split second, counter target activated or triggered ability. Meh. That looks pretty terrible. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2. When it dies, put a 2/2 white griffin creature. That actually seems pretty good if you can land it. Like giving something flying seems pretty awesome to me, and having it die into a creature is good. It's obviously susceptible to all of the problems of they kill your dude, but that seems pretty good, especially with the start we've got going so far. I was going to say I might like this Terramorphic Expanse. This is just removal, isn't it? Enchanted creature has shadow, prevent all damage that would be dealt by enchanted creature. That may be better than Griffin Guide, I'm not sure. Because this is essentially pacifism if you don't care about shadow. I'm still going to take this Griffin guide. Again, I don't know what I'm doing. There's probably pick orders somewhere that explain how you should do all of this stuff, and I'm probably doing it all wrong, but this looks like a great thing to put on a white card. All right, and we may not, I mean, we've got some blue cards that we'd like to play. That doesn't mean we have to. Uncle Istvan. Those were the days. So Nantuko Shaman is pretty amazing. I mean, if you suspend it, you get to draw a card. If you don't, you get a 3/2. Like, I could see green-white Griffin Guide being a thing. What do? You're a bunch of mana. You're a morph. You're kind of bad. You've got like a Yavimaya Dryad, which is neat. There's a Mind Stab, but that's not my favorite suspend card. I think the Shaman's just the best card here. So we'll kind of stay open to potentially Bant colors. Or maybe just blue-green, white-green. Don't know yet. X, untap X lands. It's probably not great and limited. Alright, you're a 4/3 for 5. It's about what you get back then. If it's on the battlefield, it deals damage equal to its power to target attacking creature. That creature deals... So it fights stuff that attacks. It can block without blocking. That's interesting. Enters the battlefield, destroy an enchantment. That might be okay. We've got Snapback and Ophidian Eye. Not really much here, actually. Like, this guy kind of nombos with our Griffin Guide. But again, flyers are a real format, a real thing you can do. Flickering Spirit, that's expensive, but it is, again, a flyer. And if we wheel some of those Brigade dudes, that could just be what we're doing. Undying Rage gets +2/+2 and can't block. Okay, so you can basically just keep doing that on your dudes. That's kind of neat. Weird combat trick. This card is what I was getting with Mystical Teachings yesterday, and it was fantastic. Like, it looks like a 7-mana 5/6 flash is terrible, but you can get to that sort of mana in this format. I think I'm probably just going to take a Flickering Spirit and continue with this flyer plan. Like, I haven't seen anything to get me off of it. Search for Tomorrow starts to sort of do that. 2/2 Flankers are fine. Empty the Warrens is fine. Ication Crier is amazing. Okay, I didn't see that. You can turn extra lands late game into 1/1s. I mean, it is a whole lot of 3-mana 1/1. But, like, slamming a Griffin Guide on this guy could be pretty cool. This isn't a May, is it? No. So we have to destroy an enchantment. But I like the Search for Tomorrow, but I think I'm probably just on the white-blue plan. We'll see what comes back around and what we open in the next pack. Oh, you may exile target artifact or enchantment. Okay, that's a possibility. What do? When it attacks and isn't blocked, you can deal 1 damage to target creature. This is really good against X1s and really bad against other stuff. These guys were a sideboard card in a Modern deck I played a long time ago. These cards are also okay. I can take this as a possible sideboard option against somebody that's either weak to it or where we think we can get some advantage. Temporal Eddy could be good in what we're doing, but it kind of feels like I should just take the Mystical Teachings and do the thing. Like, it's relatively easy to splash. You can go get instants and sorceries, or just instants, actually. But so here's something we're kind of interested in. Like, this guy's good at holding the ground while you're killing them with flyers. We could also just try to be aggressive, but I don't think I want a Drifter. Like, you just end up sinking so much mana into that over time. I guess we'll just do blue-white skies. Yeah, I can play 2 of these and not hate it. Clock spinning. That's just weird. We can take this. I mean, it's a morph, which means it's probably playable if you need a thing. Like, the fact that it can't attack late game is pseudo-relevant, but it's mostly here because it's a Scathe Zombie that we might want to do something with. Notice we have all 3s and 4s. Welcome to old school Magic. There are some 2-drops in the format. This is not one where we're getting anywhere. I doubt I want to do that. But hell, I might. If we've got enough flyers, it could do a thing. I mean, sure. That's a little better than your average frog. You've got to set it up so that your creatures are killing their creatures. This guy's fine. 2/2 flanking for 3 is fine. Harkens back to Mirage, which I think is my favorite limited format. If they ever do Mirage flashbacks, we are doing that. Alright, we've got a Ghost Ship. We've also got a Spike Tiller, which is just a nutty card. You can move counters around. You can turn lands into creatures. Like, this card does a lot. Ghost Ship blocks everything and attacks in the air. This thing's fine. It doesn't look that good, but all the suspend cards are broken. This is a card I like quite a bit. Like, this is neat if you can kill their stuff, but you usually can't. Remember Pentatarch Ward being okay? Because it cycles. I mean, it's alright, but it's not great. We're already going down this Blue-White Skies route, so let's take a Ghost Ship. It's mainly good because it's a 2/4 flyer, and those are great stats. The fact that you can sometimes regenerate it's pretty cool. We should start focusing on some 2s at some point, but we don't have to now. Ivory Giant's okay. I think Eternity Snare is probably what I want here. Like, the challenge with Ivory Giant is we're going to be playing a decent number of non-white creatures. So when it comes into play, tapping all of our stuff kind of sucks. And, like, we're not really trying to clear the way for our white weenies. I'd like to get a black access to black mana at some point if we think we're going to play this Teachings. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to. But Eternity Seer, you get the card back. It's a bad 6 mana Assassinate. I guess it combos with the Crier because we can discard it. It does make our Kestrel a little worse. Like, we'll have to be careful there. I guess we could use Mystical Teachings to get Ophidian Eye and Psionic Blast at this point, so it's probably still worth it. I'm going to move it over here so I remember that I have it. We'll take the Snare. Truth or Tale looks like it's going to be good, but it's just not. This guy's pretty amazing. Opaline Sliver's pretty good. I don't know that it's, like, nuts. We don't really have enough to do this, do we? Like, I guess it's okay if we get our Crier going, but it ain't great. Like, the best card here is the Duskwood Baloth. It's probably too late for us to go into green. There's some good green cards here, though. I like Shell Dweller. I like this guy. I guess the Coral Trickster is probably what I'm going to take here. I don't love it, but it gives us something to play on, too, if we're facing an aggressive deck. And the ability can be pseudo-relevant sometimes. That's about the best I can say for it. There's an Assassinate. That's good. This guy's just a shock, right? Oh, only for flyers. Okay. This is a little better than it looks, just because a 2/5 stops everything. Got to be careful how many 6s you play. This is just 4 mana draw a card, right? Reveal the top card of your library if it has the same name as a card in your graveyard. Put it in your graveyard. Otherwise, draw a card. In Limited, this is quite often 4 mana draw a card. I have a feeling we still don't want to be that dirtily, but I could be wrong. We don't have enough suspend to do that. I don't think I want that. It's not great, but it's a cat. Sarah Avenger was going to be the card of this format. I think it's probably still what we want. This guy's okay. Like, it's neat that you can flash it in. This is not obviously a 2-drop, but it is a 3/3 flyer with vigilance. Like, I'll play that. Acid Moss. Oh, so good. I like Acid Moss. I like green in this format a lot. Can you tell? But, yeah, heck, we'll go with the Sarah Avenger. I'm going to put it over here because it's not really a 2-drop, but it is something you can spend 2 mana on and hold up mana for your flash shenanigans. These guys are okay. They're not really great. This looks like a duel, but it's kind of not. There's another Search for Tomorrow. We're scared of that. And the classic Squire. Yeah, this was a Magic card back in the day. I guess we'll take this. It can trade off with X1s. I don't really want 2 Eternity Snares. Buzzards are okay too. Like, you can jump them up in the air. Search for Tomorrow is kind of a crucial card in the ramp decks. Okay, we got a Temporal Isolation. Let's make sure this does what I think it does. Of note, if you get a Pump Enchantment on this guy, it can't die. That's a neat combo to be aware of. So, Flash, Enchanted Creature has Shadow, prevent all damage that would be dealt by Enchanted Creature. So this is just a removal spell if you don't care about Shadow, which we don't, and we can get it with Mystical Teachings. So I think Teachings is in the deck now. It can grab this, it can grab the Ophidian Eye if we want to play it, and we probably do. And it can grab the Blast, which is neat to have like Burn in your blue deck. Spellburst is terrible. Scout gives us a 2-drop. We don't have any other rebels, but we might find some. I still don't think I'm in the market for Gaze of Justice. Just Ice is not what I want. I prefer my Ice Crushed. And we don't really have enough to abuse this, so I think I'll take the Scout. It's a 2-drop, and we can be on the lookout for additional rebels. Like, it's conceivable we could find one. I guess it searches up the Doomsayers, which is kind of neat, and it's going to get more combos from there. None of these cards do much. Like, they're all just kind of bad. I guess I'll take the Sliver in case we play a Sliver's deck where this would be useful to sideboard in, is to get the buffs off of their stuff. Is anybody else a rebel? Bird was... You're a bird, Wizard Harry. Yeah, there's no other rebels that we have, but we can keep an eye out for them. Herdnar is actually a pretty good card. This card's kind of not. It's a 1/2 flyer for 3. The fact that it has Flash is kind of pointless. I mean, maybe you can counter something with it, but I'm just gonna hack a Herdnar. I don't want to deal with that. Like, this is just the worst Fact or Fiction ever. You put the cards into piles, then your opponent picks one pile, and you get a card from that pile. It's just bad. I guess these guys are okay if we're blocking on the ground. The problem is they don't trade for anything. You know, I'm not super interested here. This is basically a black counterspell, which I think is a really neat card. But I'll take the Candles. That might happen. We still got another pack left, so... And Fortify can be reasonable, especially as part of a Teachings package. Alright, this is not terrible. This guy's also a rebel, for what it's worth. Like, their value goes up a good bit if you're able to search them out for free. You're not an Angel Rebel by any chance, are you? Because that would be amazing. No, you're just an Angle. Alright, so this pack's kind of a blank for us. I guess we've got Think Twice, which is not terrible and does give us something to do. Browbeat's bad. Curse of the Cabal looks fun, but it's not. This turns something into a Fallen Angel, which is cool. This guy's not bad. Good red stuff here. I guess it's Think Twice for us. Number Spider's probably the best pick, but we're pretty far off from being green. But we've got enough dudes. We've got stuff happening. We're doing things and stuff. Somebody's probably watching that played back in the day when this was a thing. It's like, no, Triscovus, isn't this good? Okay, so it's 7 mana. That's a strike against it. It's a 7 mana 4/4. You can move a counter from it. And you can sack the counters to deal damage. It's also Valor, which is not irrelevant. I'm kind of wondering if I just want this other Amaru Scout. Like, that seems like a lot of mana to me. I can also see it being really good. But if I take this Scout, it kind of gives, like, having a 2-drop that can search up another 2-drop. It's giving you something to do with your mana if you run out of it. Yeah, sure. Okay, I'll take another Scout. It makes any other Rebel we get, like, really good. Wasn't Academy Ruins one of the cards that we said was worth a ticket or two? Yeah. So the question is, also there's a Dan. That makes me happy. Crook Claw Transmuter is probably the better card for our deck. Academy Ruins is worth, like, 2 tickets. You know, for the good of the draft, we're going to take the better card. We're going to take the Bird Wizard. Also, I get to say we're going to take the Bird Wizard, which is pretty cool. Yeah, let's take a Bird Wizard. It's got Flash. Like, at this point, we're actively looking for a counterspell or some kind of Great Blue Bomb. Why, hello, Great Blue Bomb. This guy has Flash. He gives all your creatures Flash, and your opponent can't cast instants on your turn, so it turns off their counterspells. Teferi's great, and we are happy to have him. There is Fiery Just Ice, which is an amazing card if you can cast it. 5 damage to their stuff. They gain 5 life. Who cares? But I think Teferi is just what the doctor ordered. I really like Banalish Cavalry, too, as a 2-drop. Like, flanking's real. Orcish Cannonade's a good card, too. But, alright. I'll get to... It's a strict upgrade to these cats. Ixodron, what do you do again? So it turns everything into a morph. Like, it kind of flops everything into a 2/2. Which is neat, but also kind of not all that great if you're trying to do things with flyers. Like, I guess if they've got bigger stuff, it's kind of neat. And it is kind of the king of what's going on there. I think I may just like the Outrider in core. Because, like, they can't kill this if you've got more toughness on the ground. We're obviously going to have some cuts to make in this deck. I'm not sure what they're going to be, but we'll figure that out. I think this guy's one that probably gets into the deck, though. Let's see. Sukata Lancer, back from Mirage, the good old days. This guy's not bad. Probably take another Coral Trickster in case we need this sort of effect. Like more blockers. Fathom Seer's good, right? Yeah, it's a 1/3 for 2, which is fine, and it can, like, unmorph and draw you cards. That card's great. I would be interested in the Paradise Plume potentially, so we could flash back the Mystical Teachings, but we'll decide if that's something we want in our deck or not. Void Mage Husher I remember being pretty bad. Bewilder's okay as a combat trick, although I'm not super interested in combat tricks when we're kind of doing the flying thing. I don't need 2 Criers. I'll take the Bewilder. Maybe we need it against some deck. Like, this is a lot like Jace's Scrutiny. What of this do I not want to deal with? Oddly enough, the Brass Gnat is probably pretty good against us. Let's just hack a Shell Dweller. That's probably the best card. Sure. Maybe we decide we can play a Gaze of just Ice. If somebody has one thing that we have to kill. I mean, this is a surprisingly decent blocker. And our mana is going to be skewed a little bit towards blue because of Teferi. So sure, I'll take a Dan Dan. Also, we get to say I'll take a Dan Dan. I remember this guy being okay too. Like basically, if you get this in play, they can't kill your stuff. So that probably just goes in the deck. Maybe we want that against a burn deck. It would kind of surprise me. And more of these guys. All right, this looks like a good Blue Whites Flyers deck to me. I don't know, but I guess we'll find out together. Without being able to flash back Mystical Teachings, you lose some of the allure. I'm also a little nervous about running the Thing. You know what I mean, the Thing. The Thing being this, because it looks like we're going to be playing a decent amount of enchantments, and if we are, that's not going to be so good. So I think I sideboard that in against somebody that's got a lot of enchantments. We're kind of stacked on 4s, which is where you go. I don't think we need this, because these guys can be 3-drops if we need them. This is not a turn 1, 2, or 3 play, so it's kind of another 4-drop. But there you go. We don't have to play Ophidian Eye, and the Griffin Guide's kind of weird. Maybe Fortify isn't what I want. Yeah, we're not like a... I think I don't play the Teachings. Like, you could jam a Swamp in there, but, like, we want to hit multiple blues here. Actually, Teachings is busted here because it gets Teferi. Like, Teachings gives me another copy of Teferi. It gives me another copy of this. It can go get Think Twice at the worst. It can get Psionic Blast. I think it just goes and finds too many things that I don't care whether or not I can flash it back. We're just happy that it does what it does. I probably need to cut one of these 2 cards, either the Ophidian Eye or the Candles of Ling. And I think it's going to be the Candles because, again, Ophidian we can go search up if we need it. And the idea there is if we've got a flyer that's getting through and our opponent's tapped out, we can kind of build our own card draw machine. I don't love the Doomsayers, but I think they're a necessary evil. I could also just cut the Ophidian Eye and say that Fathom Seer is going to be my card draw machine. Or I could just cut one of these dudes to, like, do I really need 3 of these? I don't think so. There's an argument to just jam a Swamp in here anyway on the off chance that you can activate it, but when we're actively looking to have triple blue, I don't think I can get behind that. So we'll go 9-8 on the blue side of life. And again, this deck looks good to me. I'm not 100% sure that it is, but I guess we will find out together here in just a little bit. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you for round 1 in just a moment.